Emergence du Ressel, a beautiful and very famous cave diving site in France. Many European divers came here to take classes and explore the cave. However, in 2021, 2 fatal incidents occurred in this cave, which we will cover in this video. Emergence du Ressel, or Ressel Cave, is located in Marcilhac-sur-Célé, Occitanie region of France's Lot province. France is one of the best places in the world for cave diving, with over 20,000 caves known to exist. Around the rivers of Lot and Dordogne in the southwest is one of the most fascinating areas. Many of the long, deep caves found here have water that is mainly clean and warm, resulting in excellent diving conditions. The visibility often varies between 15 to 100 feet, and the water's average temperature is 14 degrees Celsius. The Lot is a real cave diving hotspot in Europe, containing more than 25 cave diving sites in the area. The area is popular for European divers who take cave classes there so they don't have to travel to Mexico or Florida. The Ressel Cave is one of the most famous caves in the area, with over 5,000 divers visiting each year. It's located along the Célé River, which is a tributary of the Lot River. You go into the water via a staircase, which is made of boulders. To get to the entrance, you'll need to swim 114 feet in the Célé River. After a large, wide passage, the cave splits into 2 passages, one tunnel with an average depth of about 32 feet, and a second with an average depth of about 64 feet, running in the same direction. The shallow tunnel is beautifully carved by erosion, and a sort of bubble-like surface with mini craters provides a lunar-like site for novice cave divers. After about 360 meters, the 2 passages meet again. After this point, the cave takes a few jumps into the depth, also called puits by the French. One is at a depth of 150 feet, which is suitable for novice cave divers. The other jump is only for the more experienced cave divers because of the depth of 262 feet. Ressel Cave is an archaeological site with one of the most extensive records of prehistoric cultures. Archaeologists discovered many artifacts reflecting over 10,000 years of use in a single location in the 1950s. In 1968, the Ressel was first dived by 2 divers from the Speleo Club Auvergnat. Debras and Martin reached 492 feet. The line's greatest depth was 100 feet, and it wasn't until 1973 that it was expanded to 984 feet. In 1975, Fantoli and Tolomduan descended to Pit 4 and reached a depth of 147 feet. Over time, more exploration took place, particularly in the early 1980s, when Joachim Hassemeyer inserted his knife into a rock and attached his line to a depth of 3,609 feet into the system. This knife is still there. Olivier Isler was the first to traverse Sump 1 on August 12, 1990. 10 hours 35 minutes were spent diving back and forth in all. Lac Isler marks the conclusion of Siphon 1, after which you can move on to the following siphons. Ressel is made up of 5 sumps, Siphon 1 being the longest and deepest. The deep part starts in Pit 4 and can only be completed using trimix mixes. Rick Stanton, Martin Farr, and Jason Mallison, among other gentlemen, explored the deeper sumps in the years that followed. The conclusion of Sump 5 was reached in 1999. The main line is 14,485 feet long in total. Unfortunately, situations occur frequently. Today we will cover 2 of the 3 incidents that happened in 2021 in the Ressel Cave. At the start of May 2021, Robert KOZUBEK, a Polish cave diver, arrived in France. He uploaded a photo on his Facebook profile along with the caption, "We are starting the full cave diver course." He planned to perform a solo dive on May 8, 2021, which was his 53rd birthday back then. Robert was an experienced diver since he was diving since 1987, and he was an instructor in scuba diving. Robert owned the Bork Company since 2007, aided disabled people, and was an associate member of the Nautica Underwater Tourism Center Association, working with teaching disabled divers in the HAS system, which is the Handicapped Scuba Association system. He wrote research publications on the activity of methodology for disabled persons who practice diving, and diving for disabled people. Robert had dived in caves numerous times, and the diving exploration of one of Europe's most difficult caverns was a tremendous adventure and a massive challenge for him. He still wanted to teach and progress as a diver. Aside from diving, he had a master's degree in physical education and taught swimming and first aid classes. He had been a lifeguard, and he served in the 56th Combat Helicopter Regiment and was a non-commissioned officer in the Polish Army, and he was also a paratrooper. Shortly before this birthday dive, he was part of a TDI cave instructor training course with some other Polish instructors, which was happening in France. The TDI cave instructor course is a course few cave divers will get into because of the course prerequisites. Cave divers who want to follow this course, for example, should have performed over 200 cave dives and have certification for TDI Introductory Cave Instructor and be certified as an open water instructor for at least 2 years. This shows that Robert was a very experienced cave diver. For this dive, Robert planned to spend about 3 hours to cover a total length of 8,202 feet, which he also posted on Facebook on the day of the incident, along with some technical information about his equipment he was planning to use. On Saturday at 4:30 p.m., Robert found himself in a difficult situation when he was just starting to dive. Other practitioners were present around him. It happened at the start of the adventure when he was not yet at a depth of 32 feet. Other divers, including Swiss, French, and German divers, had to pull him out of the water. He was immediately brought out of the water and given a heart massage before being attended to by paramedics who were rushed to the spot. When the incident occurred, an experienced instructor was supervising a field trip. She was the one who gave Robert a heart massage while waiting for aid. The firefighters then took over the scene. Because of the CPR, cardiorespiratory activity was restored. Robert was taken to a hospital in Cahors. He was still unconscious and in critical condition. 3 days after the incident, Robert passed away in the hospital. It's unknown whether the accident was caused by a technical issue or a heart condition. French authorities probed the causes of the fatality. One of the commentators stated that Robert might have died as a result of hypoxia induced by the closed ADV. According to his former CCR instructor, Robert lacked the knowledge, skills, and experience needed to safely perform the dive that he had planned. He had not completed the cave instructor course we talked about earlier. At the time of the incident, Robert was qualified to perform single-stage CCR diving without DPV, diver propulsion vehicle, in open water with air diluent, minimum oxygen 21% or greater. Robert broke all standards and went beyond the scope of his training. For the dive Robert planned, he should have gotten at least CCR Trimix, CCR Cave, and DPV Cave qualifications. The second incident took place on October 7, 2021. On a Thursday afternoon at 12:30 p.m., a 39-year-old Belgian cave diver went for a dive into the Ressel cave. He was together with 3 other members of a Belgian caving club. It was the first time this group was going to dive into Ressel Cave. The Belgian diver went into the cave for exploration, and after descending for 32 feet and about 65 feet from the entrance to the resurgence, he became trapped in a narrow passage. This was the same passage which was given special attention during their research, planning, and briefing, because they were wondering if the Belgian diver would fit through the narrow passage. It was reported that the diver tried to squeeze through the restriction in the cave, became stuck, and it caused his rebreather's counterlungs to compress and empty. According to them, his hands and arms were extended ahead of him, or otherwise in a position that he could not reach the control valves of the rebreather or his bailout. Because he didn't get back to the surface, his teammates came to retrieve him and notified the emergency services. Unfortunately, his teammates were not able to get him loose, and he eventually died of cardiac arrest. They mentioned that if the counterlungs had not compressed and controls were accessible, that there would have been enough breathable gas for approximately 5 hours at the depth the deceased was stuck, which could have potentially been more than enough time for a rescue to have been carried out instead of a recovery. It took the fire department's rescue team approximately 45 minutes to free the deceased Belgian diver. In vain, they tried to revive him. However, their intervention came to a close shortly after 5 p.m. The sub-prefect arrived, as did the gendarme of Livernon-Figeac and the mayor of the town, Jean-Paul Mignat. It was the third diving accident of 2021 and the second fatal one. We would like to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed watching, take a dive on the like and subscribe buttons and hit the bell icon so you get notified when we come back with another exciting cave diving story.